Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a life that took some seriously wild turns?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We're talking Azie Faison, a guy who went from a major drug player in Harlem to, well,
To someone dedicated to keeping youth away from that life.
yeah, exactly.
Pretty amazing.
It's a story full of contrasts, and we're going to unpack it all using his Wikipedia entry.
I always find those fascinating, you know?
Me too.
They can really give you a sense of someone's journey.
Totally.
Like, how do you go from those beginnings to where Azie ended up? It's a question worth exploring.
It really is.
For sure.
Okay, so Azie's story begins in New York City.
Okay.
He was born there in 1964.
Got it.
One of 7 kids.
Wow, a big family.
Yeah, raised by a single mother.
Must have been tough.
And then things get even tougher.
Oh.
They had to move to Harlem after a fire in their building.
Oh, wow. That's rough.
Can you imagine the impact that kind of instability has on a kid?
Oh, absolutely. Especially at a young age. That kind of disruption can really shape a person's path. And you can see how those early experiences might have influenced Azie's life, too.
Yeah, I see that.
He ended up dropping out of high school.
After 9th grade, right?
Yeah, ninth grade.
Yeah,
And then he bounced around from job to job.
makes sense.
Even worked at a dry cleaner's for a while, like 2 years.
Interesting.
And that's actually where things took a pretty unexpected turn.
Really? A dry cleaners?
Yeah. You wouldn't think a dry cleaner's would be the starting point for, well,
It's for a future drug kingpin.
exactly.
It's funny how life works out sometimes, isn't it?
Right,
Mm.
like those everyday places. You never know
Exactly.
what kind of connections you might make.
Yeah, so what happened at the dry cleaners?
Well, that's where Azie met a Dominican supplier.
Ah, I see. Someone who introduced him to that whole world.
Exactly. And this is also around the time when, that movie Scarface came out.
Oh, yeah, the one that kind of glamorized the whole drug scene.
Yeah, that's the one.
Wow, talk about timing.
Right. I mean, it makes you wonder if it's just a coincidence. Totally.
Like, did that movie, combined with meeting that supplier, plant some kind of seed in Azie's mind?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but it definitely makes you think about how those factors, real life and fiction,
Right.
can come together at just the right moment and influence someone's choices.
For sure.
It's like those two things, the encounter and the movie,
Mhm.
created this, like a perfect storm
Yeah.
in his life.
Yeah.
From there, his rise in the drug world, I mean, it was shockingly fast.
Oh, yeah, incredibly fast.
Like by the time he was 21, he was already a major cocaine wholesaler.
making serious money.
Yeah, something like $40,000 a week or even more.
Or more. Crazy.
All this during the 80s.
The peak of the war on drugs.
Yeah, a time that was both incredibly dangerous.
And alluring. Right.
Absolutely.
Like the risks were high, but so were the rewards.
It's a world of extremes, that's for sure.
But Azie wasn't in this alone, right?
No, not at all.
He had this whole network.
The whole operation. Yeah, with 2 key figures, Rich Porter and Alpo Martinez.
Ah, names that are pretty much legendary in that world.
Yeah.
And together, they became a major force in New York's drug scene.
Like, they controlled a massive amount of the cocaine coming into the state.
Exactly. We're talking a major operation here, not just small-time stuff.
Right. They were at the center of it all.
Absolutely.
But being at the center of that world, it came with consequences.
Right. It's not a world that lets you walk away unscathed.
And Azie learned that the hard way in 1987.
What happened?
Well, there was this violent robbery at his stash house.
Oh, wow.
3 people were killed, 3 others seriously injured.
Oh, my God.
And Azie himself, he was shot 9 times.
9 times.
It's unbelievable he even survived.
Yeah, that's just brutal, a stark reminder of how dangerous that life really is.
And it really was a turning point for Azie.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, both physically and mentally, like that brush with death.
Yeah, I can see that.
It made him reevaluate everything.
It makes you wonder, would he have ever left that life if it hadn't been for that robbery?
That's a good question. Hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But that event, it definitely shattered his sense of invincibility,
Yeah, it forced him to face the reality of the path he was on.
Exactly. And it wasn't just him, the robbery. It had this ripple effect.
Oh, how so?
Well, their whole operation started to fracture after that.
Oh, I see.
And tragically, Rich Porter was murdered by Alpo Martinez in 1990.
Oh, wow. I remember hearing about that.
And then Martinez himself, he was arrested and convicted a year later.
So everyone involved basically met a tragic end.
Yeah, except for Azie.
What happened to him?
He chose a different path.
Really?
He walked away from the drug trade completely.
Wow, that's a huge decision.
And he dedicated himself to something entirely, helping young people avoid the same mistakes he had made.
So he went from being a kingpin to a mentor.
Yeah, pretty incredible, right?
It's a huge shift. It really makes you think about what drove him to make that choice.
Right. Was it guilt, a desire for redemption, or maybe something else entirely?
Those are some great questions. And honestly, I think it was probably a combination of factors.
Yeah, probably.
And as we go deeper into his transformation,
Right.
I think we'll start to see those different motivations emerge.
Exactly. And speaking of transformation, Aziz didn't stop with leaving the drug world.
Oh. What else did he do?
He also found an outlet through music.
Really?
Yeah, in 1989, he formed a rap group called Mob Style.
Interesting. So even after everything he'd been through, he still had this creative energy.
Oh, yeah, and this is where things get even more interesting.
Oh.
Mob Style, they started out with that classic gangster rap sound.
Makes sense.
But then they shifted gears,
To what?
a more conscious style of hip-hop.
Wow, that's a big change.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like he was using music to process his experiences.
And to send a message.
Yeah, exactly.
A message about the realities of that life, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe even to reach those who might be drawn to that same lifestyle.
Right. Using his platform to try to steer them in a different direction.
It's powerful how music can connect with people like that, especially young people.
Yeah, it can speak to them in a way that nothing else can.
And Aziz's desire to reach a wider audience, it didn't stop there.
What do you mean?
He eventually got involved in film, too.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, his life was actually portrayed in that 2002 movie, Paid in Full.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
The one where Wood Harris plays him, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It's like he was taking his story to an even bigger stage.
Yeah, like he wanted to make sure it was heard.
Exactly.
Going from living that life to seeing it depicted on screen.
It must have been surreal.
Totally surreal. And it makes you think about the whole process of looking back on your life.
Especially a life as intense as his.
Yeah, no kidding.
But he didn't stop with the movie.
He didn't?
Nope. He also worked with a street documentarian
Okay.
named Troy Reed on a project called Game Over.
Game Over. That's a powerful title.
Right. And then, to go even deeper, he co-authored a book with Agie Tahimba.
Really?
Yeah, and the book is also called Game Over, The Rise and Transformation of a Harlem Hustler.
Wow. So from music to film to writing a book.
It seems like he was determined to share his story in every way possible.
Like he had a message he needed to get out there, a story he felt compelled to tell.
And through those different mediums, he was able to reach so many more people.
Making sure his experiences wouldn't be forgotten.
Exactly.
It's a story that deserves to be heard.
Absolutely. So as he goes from kingpin to, dedicating his life to community work.
To making a positive change.
Right. And it wasn't just about leaving his past behind.
No, it was about actively working to prevent others from going down that same path.
Exactly. So how did he actually make that impact? What did he focus on?
Well, one of the things that really stands out is how he used his personal experiences.
Okay. In what way?
I mean, he lived on those streets. He knew the temptations, the dangers firsthand. He could connect with those kids in a way that someone who hadn't walked in his shoes, well, they just couldn't.
So it wasn't about preaching or lecturing.
No, not at all. It was about sharing his own journey.
His own struggles.
Exactly. His regrets, his redemption, the whole thing.
And by being so open about his own vulnerabilities.
He created a space for real connection.
Yeah, he wasn't judging them.
No, he was guiding them,
Yeah.
trying to help them find a better way.
I bet hearing from someone who had actually been there, made those mistakes, and come out the other side.
I mean, that had to be incredibly impactful.
Yeah, way more than just listening to someone who'd never been in that situation.
Absolutely. It's about
Right.
authenticity, empathy.
Right. Azie wasn't some distant authority figure.
He was someone who understood their reality,
Yeah, someone they could relate to.
and that made his message resonate so much more.
It sounds like he really understood the power of storytelling.
Oh, he definitely did. He knew how to connect with people on that level.
So, did he have any, specific methods or programs he used in his work with youth?
Well, he recognized that there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
So he took this multifaceted approach,
Huh.
He spoke at schools, community centers, prisons even,
Wow.
sharing his story, offering guidance.
But he also went beyond just talking.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was all about action.
So what else did he do?
He worked to create opportunities for young people,
I-
helping them develop skills, find jobs, Anything to give them a real alternative to the streets.
It wasn't just warnings, it was about providing real support.
Exactly. Tangible support, real opportunities.
He understood that breaking that cycle, it takes more than just words.
Yeah, it's about addressing those root causes that often lead young people to that life in the first place.
Like poverty, lack of opportunity.
Yeah, sense of hopelessness.
It's like his approach was about looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, and understanding that it's not just about individual choices.
But about creating a supportive environment.
Exactly. A community that lifts people up instead of dragging them down.
And that really connects to a bigger conversation, right?
Absolutely. A conversation about the systemic factors that contribute to these cycles.
So it's not just about Azie's individual story.
No, it's a reflection of larger societal issues.
It makes you think about those underlying issues.
The things that make certain communities so vulnerable.
And what we can do to address them.
It's a conversation we need to be having.
Absolutely. And Azie's story, it's like a starting point.
A way to open up that dialogue.
It raises some really important questions, you know?
Yeah. Like, what creates those environments where someone like Azie can rise to power in the drug trade in the first place?
And what can we do to break those cycles?
Those are questions that are still relevant today.
They really are. Azie's story might be rooted in a specific time and place.
But it speaks to challenges that so many communities still face today.
It has this, like, timeless quality to it.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about social activism either, right?
No, Azie's story has also had this huge impact on popular culture.
Yeah. We talked about the movie Paid in Full.
But there are other films, documentaries, music even.
It's interesting how his story has become part of the cultural narrative,
Like a cautionary tale.
but also one that shows the possibility of redemption.
Yeah, it's like a modern-day morality play.
I like that, a morality play.
It reminds us of the complexities of the drug trade,
The allure, the violence.
the human cost,
But it's also this testament to the human spirit,
the power to overcome adversity.
to make a positive impact. Azie's story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope,
There's always a chance to change,
and to contribute to something positive.
especially for young people facing similar challenges.
Yeah, it's a message of resilience.
A message that we can all learn from.
Absolutely.
So now that we've talked about his transformation and his impact on the community,
Great.
let's shift gears a bit and focus on his legacy.
Okay.
How is he remembered today?
What's the lasting impact of his work? Okay, so we've really gone deep on Azie's journey from, the drug trade to becoming a youth advocate.
It's been quite a story.
It has, but what about his lasting impact? How do we even begin to think about Azie's legacy?
It's a tough question.
It is.
I mean, how do you measure something like that?
Exactly.
I think, though, we can see Azie's legacy in a few different ways.
Okay, how so?
Well, on a personal level, it's the countless individuals whose lives he directly touched,
The young people he worked with?
Yeah, the ones he mentored, guided, gave a second chance to.
Right.
Those are the real testaments to his dedication to change.
It's like his impact just keeps rippling outward,
It does.
He makes this huge change in his own life, and then he dedicates himself to helping others do the same.
Exactly. It's pretty remarkable.
It really is.
And then there's the broader cultural impact.
Right, like we were talking about before.
His story, it's become this powerful narrative that's woven into movies, documentaries, music. It's a reminder that even those who've made serious mistakes,
They can still turn things around.
yeah, and make a real difference in the world.
And Azie's life, it might be unique in a lot of ways,
Right.
but it also speaks to these universal human themes.
Yeah, like the struggle for redemption, the desire to leave your mark.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
It's interesting how he used all those different platforms to share his experiences, film, music, even writing.
He really did.
Did he ever talk about why it was so important for him to tell his story?
I think he felt this responsibility, to use his past to warn others about the dangers of that life.
The dangers of the drug trade.
Yeah, but it was more than just a cautionary tale.
What do you mean?
He also wanted to show that change is possible.
That no matter how far down a dark path you've gone, there's always hope.
Exactly. There's always a chance to create a different future for yourself.
And that message, it's so important for young people today.
Especially those who are facing similar challenges. Poverty, lack of opportunity.
The allure of easy money.
It's easy to get caught up in that when you don't see another way out.
And Azie's story, it's like a reminder that there is another way.
There's always hope.
But it's not just about individual choices, right?
No, we have to address those root causes too.
The systemic issues that contribute to these cycles.
Exactly. We can't just tell young people to stay away from drugs.
Right.
We have to create communities where they have real opportunities.
Access to education, jobs.
Positive role models.
Yeah, as he understood that.
He did.
And he worked so hard to build those kinds of support systems.
He was trying to change the game.
Not just for himself.
But for his whole community.
And it seems like he succeeded in a lot of ways.
I think so. He made a real difference.
In people's lives, in the broader conversation about these issues.
He really did.
But what about us? What can we take away from his story? How do we continue his work?
I think it comes down to action.
What do you mean?
Azie's life was a call to action, you know. It's a challenge to look around our own communities, see the needs, and get involved.
So like volunteer at a youth center.
Exactly. Mentor a young person. Even just have open and honest conversations about these challenges.
Right. We can all play a part.
We can all contribute to making things better.
To breaking those cycles.
To creating a more just and equitable world.
I love that.
It's what Azie dedicated his life to.
And his story is a powerful reminder that change is possible.
On an individual level and a societal level.
It's a story that encourages us to look deeper, to understand the complexities of the human experience.
To work towards a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Well said.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Azie Faison's life,
Yeah.
I hope you're walking away with a sense of hope.
Inspiration.
And a renewed commitment to making a difference.
Because Azie's story shows us
that even in the face of adversity,
the human spirit can overcome anything.
And create something truly meaningful.
This has been an amazing journey.
I've really enjoyed it.
Me too. And I hope it's given all of you a deeper understanding of Azie Faison's life and legacy.
He was a remarkable individual.
He really was. So, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.